What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. Amron, how are we doing? I know everybody's telling me I'm late. Look, fellas. If I set the time at 7:30, you can almost guarantee I'm coming at 7:45. But how are we? How are we doing? Somebody hit me with a dislike in here. I appreciate the 12 likes waiting for me in this stream, but how are we doing today? I figured we'd hop on. I don't know if we're going to make this a thing this offseason, but just kind of how my schedule has worked the last 2 weeks, where Monday has been a great day to hop on here and do a stream with you guys. So today, we're going to hop on Underdog Fantasy, hop in a Best Ball Mania 4 draft. There's $3 million to first place. It's an absolutely insane tournament. We're going to max it by the end of the offseason, so we're gunning for 150 of these. I think I'm only like 15 in right now, so figured why not play some catch-up, do a BBM4 draft. As always, if you're new here, if you're not already on Underdog, what are you doing, man? Get on Underdog Fantasy. I actually just made, I'll show it in a second, but I kind of made some good money on golf on Underdog Fantasy. But of course, I mean, we're playing for football. They have Best Ball where you draft your team. You don't have to worry about it right after you draft it. There's no trades. There's no waivers. It sets your best lineup every single week for you already. But that's going to be here. I'm going to put the link in the live chat, so it's just going to be pinned right there at the top. You can click it. It'll take you to Underdog Fantasy. It'll already put my promo code RON in for you, which matches your first deposit up to $100. You can deposit 50. They'll match it another 50. You'll have 100 total in your account. If you do 100, they'll match another 100. You'll have 200 in your account. But how are we doing today? Let me check in with the fellas before we move on here. We got Noah Bryant saying a million things right now. Noah Bryant just decided to have a chat by himself before I hopped in here. Nothing needs to start right now. I'm ready. I appreciate you, Noah. You said, I'm a big fan of you. I don't watch all of your videos, but I watch most. I'm always the first one in your chat, but I don't always message. I respect it, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. But how are we? Only 4 likes. No wonder he's not showing yet. I don't look at the likes before I hop on. I'm just, I set it for a certain time, and then I have work that I do before it. And if it takes me longer, then it takes me longer. But we got Zane in here. Ron won me my championship thanks to his draft kit and weekly Patreon rankings. Let's go. Thank you for the gas, Zane. Thank you for the gas. For anybody out there that is curious, on Patreon, we already have redraft rankings out. We just did a Dynasty rankings update. What else we got in here? We got Jared in here. Hey, how's it going, boss? How are we doing, Hunter Joe Green? You said you do really good watching more. I appreciate it, Noah. It's Ron's party. He can't be late. Hey, man. Ron, how are your MLB best ball teams doing? Not great, man. We got Brian in here. Let's see. Let me show you guys my golf. Let me show you guys my golf teams. Let me show you how my MLB is doing real quick. I'm telling you, man, like, of course, this is a fantasy football channel. I love fantasy football. It's the only one that I'm actually, like, knowledgeable at in terms of fantasy sports. But, I mean, I've been getting into golf lately just in terms of, like, playing with my buddies. Like, this is the first summer where I've bought a set of clubs. I've gone to the driving range probably, like, 3, 4, 5 times at this point. I've played 18 probably, like, twice. I've been kind of obsessed with golf. So I was watching the U.S. Open all week. I actually posted it on Twitter. I had a future. I put down 8 bets on the U.S. Open before it started, and Wyndham Clark was one of them. So I bet $11 to win 1,000 and won that on Wyndham Clark. I've been I'll dip my toe in other sports here, but I do want to show you guys kind of where we ended up with this golf stuff, because it was pretty cool. Let's bring this out. Yeah, so I played 73 drafts. What I did essentially is I went to Data Golf, which is like kind of like the Ken Palm version of golf. I paid $20 for their projections. Then I pretty much just made my rankings based off of their projections and just auto drafted 73 drafts. And we ended up putting in, I think like these are 20 times 7 and the other are 53 times 5. I think we pretty much doubled our money. I don't know. Yeah, this one's $7 entry, so like 7 times 20 or whatever. Our best team yesterday came in, let's zoom out a bit, huh? But our best team yesterday came in Ninth place, dude. Top 10 in a golf contest. I mean, like, I'll take that. I'll take that. I mean, like John Rahm, Koepka, Tommy Fleetwood, Russell Henley, Denny McCarthy, Patrick Reed. I only know like half of those guys. But it worked out. I know somebody was asking about my baseball teams. They're not doing great. I only have one where I'm in the money, and it's in second place. The rest of them all kind of suck. Yeah, dude, I'm looking rough in terms of baseball. We have 7 drafts. Only one of them is winning anything. I guess this one would advance, which is pretty cool. This is the best team. DeGrom, nobody really sticks out. Kershaw, sure. Tatis, I know. LeMahieu, I know, but he's been garbage. Juan Soto, of course, I know. Oh, I have Nelson Cruz on this team, who I don't really know who Nelson Cruz is, but his name sounds familiar. But that's enough of our talk showing my other sports. But like I said, like Underdog Fantasy, of course, we're talking promo codes, we're talking, live streams in terms of just football drafts, but there's a lot here that you can do with other sports, and it's really fun, especially because, like, I would say football is the most solved game so far on Underdog. I think everything else, like, again, I don't know anything about golf, man. I don't know anything about golf, but if you have a good set of rankings or a good process or whatever, you can exploit big money right now. I think we essentially put in about $400 into these golf contests, and we made about 1,000. One of them got a top 10 place, so that was pretty cool. And also my ring that I won was from a daily contest, so more of their DFS style stuff. But that's enough of all this chatter. Let's hop into a Best Ball Mania 4 draft. Why not? Like I said, I'm kind of behind. I wish I had maybe 10 to 15 more of these BBM drafts already done, but let's hop into one of these. $25 to enter, $15 million in prizes, $3 million to first place. Biggest contest ever. Boom. People are telling me DeGrom is done and that team is dust. Fine, I don't really care anyways. Whatever. All right, let's make sure that we're all situated correctly here. Let's pop out the draft board. And we'll go here. Also, let me know if any of you guys are in here. I don't think I recognize any of these names now that I'm looking. Yeah, I don't recognize a single one of these names. And we're picking out of the 6th spot, which is kind of ugly, but I think it's kind of in a good spot. I think that you're doing well in fantasy this year if you can have your choice of Jefferson, Chase, Tyreek, Kupp, McCaffrey. God damn it. Nope. But being in top 5 for those 5, I think, is a tier above the rest, in my eyes, at least. We got Pesky in here. OG Pesky. What's going on, my boy? Also, for anybody in the Patreon, the goal is tomorrow to start getting people to sign up for our basement tournament Best Ball Dynasty League. So if you're in the Patreon, be on the lookout for that. Do you do any giveaways during the offseason? I do. Once things start ramping up a little bit, because I usually do, last year, I think we gave out stuff on the Patreon. I gave out a signed Swift jersey. I gave out some merch. So that's kind of all not done yet, or even that close to being done, but that's in the works, if you will. Giveaways for with merch, giveaways on the Patreon, but most of the giveaways happen on the Patreon. I'll say that. Man, so now we're just staring in the bit. I hate this pick. I keep getting this pick. Kelsey sucks to take here. I never want to take Kelsey here. Diggs is just very meh. I think it just has to be Diggs, but it doesn't feel great at all. Yeah, it has to be Diggs, but I hate that pick every time. Tiggs to me, or I don't know why I said Tiggs, but Diggs is very clearly to me a tier below these 4. You can take Kelsey and get an advantage at tight end, but 6th overall for Kelsey when I talked about this on the Dynasty or on the tight end rankings videos, but Kelsey's ADP every year is so dependent on how he did the year before. And every time that he has been a value, it's been because he wasn't a top 6 pick, So now he's a top 6 pick. He's going to be 34 years old. And is his points per game going to be that much crazier than Mark Andrews 3 rounds later, is what you have to ask yourself. It gets tough. I cannot stand this spot of the draft. 6 and 7 really sucks, man. Like I said, like having a top 5 pick is perfect. I think these 4 wide receivers plus McCaffrey, I feel really good about. Once I get to 6, 7, 8, I'd rather either be top 5 or I'd rather be at the back half of the draft. Also, very weird that we just saw Mahomes go 10th overall, but not that crazy, I guess. What else we got in here? Yes, sir. We're in a BBM today. You said your best team had Acuna? Acuna? I'm screwing that name up. Acuna. I know it's Ronald Acuna. What else we got in here? You said, Ron, I've got a question for you. Let's actually zero in on this pick real quick, and then we'll figure out what's what. Okay, so Waddle goes. Yeah, for me in this spot, it's just gonna be JT or Saquon. But this is how a lot of my drafts have been looking, and I hate it, man. The hope is that Allen makes it back to us at 306. I guess give me JT. How do you guys feel about JT versus Saquon? I think it's very close at this point. It's very close at this point, but I feel like, especially with JT and BBM, I feel like JT was like a late first at one point. So, I mean, now you can get him at 207. Like, he's fallen more than Saquon in Best Ball Mania. So, I'd rather sort of leverage the field a little bit there, if that makes sense. But you said, I've got a question for you. I've got a 14-team, 1-quarterback league. I took second place last year. Would you send Higgins a 24 first and a 25 second for Diggs, Cup, and James Conner? In a 1-quarterback league, I think I would. It's close, but I think you could make the case that that's a worth it deal. You said you were raking in money during the spring on esports parlays on Underdog. Definitely worth checking out. Yeah, I mean, they're pick'ems and stuff where you can like string together their higher and lowers. Sadly, I'm in Jersey, or else I would promote it a lot more and show you guys what I'm doing. But sadly, Jersey does not have the pick'ems yet, so that really sucks. I'm telling you, I'm decent on these like sports books, other side stuff. I've been pretty profitable. Like I love those golf and I love Formula One, because you can get some pretty crazy odds on like dark horses to win the whole thing. You know, it's kind of like almost like horse racing in a way. So Kelsey Mahomes stacks are always fun, but I agree. Take Diggs over Kelsey, yeah. In terms of how you're playing tight end, I agree. That's what I should want to do, but I end up taking a lot. I end up taking a lot of like Waller. You went AJ Brown at 6. AJ Brown is tough for me at 6, man. Tough. I don't think that he's ever scored a points per game that would have justified a 6 overall pick, but I could kind of be talking on my ass there. Yeah, exactly. It's Acuna. You have that, dude. I took so many years of Spanish, and I don't really remember a ton of it. But I think when you put the accent over the end, it's Enye. Oh yeah, give me Josh Allen here. That's a fun start. Allen, Diggs, Jonathan Taylor, especially with Jonathan Taylor and Josh Allen, 2 guys that I think have been some pretty big fallers in Best Ball Mania 4. So the reason why that's important is because Josh Allen and Jonathan Taylor. Like, Jonathan Taylor probably was getting drafted around here in terms of, like, the first, like, month or two of Best Ball Mania. And then Josh Allen's probably getting picked, like, around here. So this combination through the first, like, 2 months of drafting was probably pretty rare. And I'm getting some nice closing line value on the guys who drafted Jonathan Taylor and Josh Allen around this area of the draft. So that's pretty fun. What else we got in here? You said 12-team Superflex Dynasty. Which side won? 106 and 224 first for Chase in the 108. Oh, Chase by a lot, my brother. Chase by a lot. Saquon's best years were with Eli Manning. Haven't been a huge believer in him since. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. When you have a scrambling quarterback like Daniel Jones, he's probably not going to dump it off a ton. Saquon doesn't really seem as efficient or explosive. since the injuries. It's tough. It's tough. You're saying JT for you all day. I agree. I think you could bunch in Pollard if you'd like. It just seems like ADP-wise, that's the 1v1. And I guess you can throw Chubb in there too. Chubb is almost like passing them in ADP right now. Just kind of, I don't know if I can get there on Chubb. That's RB4 overall Chubb. Like I can at least secede that Chubb is in the same tier as Taylor and Saquon, but man, 203 Chubb over Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon is tough for me to get behind. And I'm coming around on Chubb. I love this Cleveland offense this year. I talk about it in what feels like every video. All right, pretty balanced build here. I'm going to go D-Hop just in case Hopkins ends up getting traded to the Bills. Just in case. I feel like that'd go pretty hard. And in the off chance that he goes to the Patriots, we got a Week 17 stack there with correlation. So I think that's kind of fun. I gave ETN a very serious thought there. But Hopkins to me is kind of like a last wide receiver in a tier break for me. And I feel like there's some added upside with like his Bills and Patriots tie-ins and stuff. Because if Hopkins went to the Bills, you have to assume that he maybe passes like Calvin Ridley in ADP. What do you guys think if he went to the Bills? 'Cause I mean, Diggs is still there. You have like Kincaid and Gabe Davis, I guess. So I'm not sure how much the public would be excited about it, but I have to assume it would be tough to get Hopkins stacked to Josh Allen. Once this, like, if Hopkins goes to the Bills, because if that happens, then I mean, you're taking Josh Allen here. You would need D-Hop to stay in the same area. But to me, I think that he probably gets moved like this way, and probably gets stacked more so with like anybody who's like insane enough to take him like early second, Josh Allen. I'm not sure. Oh, I like Waller too. Is he round 7? He's like round 7, 8-ish. I like Dolchich as a late tight end. I can't get... Freiermuth is tough for me to get there on. You're saying heads up, the guy at the 1 might be trolling? I'm going to take Mixon. I don't really love Mixon, but again, I don't mean to structure my whole draft around this line of thinking, but in Best Ball Mania, closing line value matters a ton. Mixon's another one of these players where if positive news comes out about him, like he probably ends up like maybe an ETN range or like Kenneth Walker 3-4 area. He's probably cheaper than a 5th round pick, so I don't mind taking him there. I thought long and hard about Chris Godwin. Not going as wide receiver heavy as I usually like to go in these drafts, but changing things up ever so slightly. What else we got in here? You said you also had a Diggs, JT, Allen start. Is it crazy wanting to take Waddle over Devontae this year? To me, yes. I think that there's some sharp guys out there. Like, I think there's some sharp guys out there that would say that it's not crazy. It's probably not crazy. I just can't get there. I have such a hard time, especially with Waddle. Like, I was listening today. I think, honestly, one of the I don't really even know these guys, not even to really gas them up. But Ben Gretsch and Michael Leone. Michael Leone has established the run guy. Gretsch does his own thing with, like, stealing signals and all of that. They've done the last 2 years now. It's genuinely a mandatory listen for me every offseason. They go through their projections, so they both separately make projections for the season, and then they do a podcast that's like 8 episodes long where they talk through every division and they sort of compare notes and compare their projections and stuff. I don't know where I was going, but that is mandatory listen. I was listening to it today. They talked through the AFC East, and they were talking through Waddle. I didn't get to Miami yet, but it sounded very clear. Like they were high on Waddle, and they wanted to put Waddle. I think they were even saying that this is where it came up. I think Leone wanted to put like Waddle over Garrett Wilson. I just have such a tough time. Like I like Waddle, and I like him a good bit more than your like Devonta Smith, T Higgins, like wide receiver twos in their offense. I think there's a little bit more upside with Waddle, but he's still behind Tyreek Hill, same way that Devonta Smith's behind A.J. Brown and T. Higgins is behind Jamar Chase. You're kind of cutting yourself off from like a top 5, ceiling with those guys. So for me, I would rather have Garrett Wilson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a guy who has 20-plus points per game in his upside case as a top dog, 30% target share wide receiver. Waddle getting there is going to be a lot tougher. He would have to have like monster efficiency. You'd have to have Tyreek Hill taking a step back for Waddle to get to like 20-plus points per game, like flirting with top 5 numbers. So that's why I'd prefer Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson to a guy like Waddle, even though I like Waddle. All right. Probably need to make up some ground at wide receiver at this point. Let's go Mike Evans. I keep taking a lot of Mike Evans, but his weekly ceiling is super high. You're getting a massive discount on him where he was like a late second last year. He's like a 6th now, and he wasn't really that bad last year. So I'll take that all day. What else we got in here? You said KW3 scares me, man. Surprised to see him going this high on Underdog. Yeah, I'm like, what's that? Early 401, some guy took him. Good luck, brother. What are your thoughts on the Browns pass catchers this season? I've drafted a lot of Njoku, but not a lot of Cooper. Round 3 just feels super early for Cooper. I've made so many videos at this point talking about the Browns. I love them all. The Mark Cooper price isn't amazing. I mean, that's like early 4th. I'd probably still have him as the first wide receiver of this big jumble. But I agree. He feels like the top guy in like a really big tier, so it never feels good to push the button on Amari Cooper. But I love this offense, or this passing offense. Like, Stefanski's called plays for 4 years now. Last year was the most pass attempts he's ever called. They just weren't efficient. Deshaun Watson wasn't great, but if you look at Deshaun Watson's career efficiency numbers and touchdown rate numbers, even if he bounces back to 75% of his career average, it should be much better than last year. So I'm betting on everybody there. I agree. I don't push the button on Amari much because he's the most expensive, but I have a lot of Elijah Moore and Njoku. I'm not opposed to Amari Cooper. Just has to make sense when I pick him. Wow, this guy's going to go double tight end here. Man, I would have scooped up Pitts. So if that's the case, let's go Gabe Davis. Why not? Let's get Gabe Davis, stack him to Josh Allen. I don't know. If Hopkins ends up being a Bill, then we have 3 Bills. At this point, we're done drafting Bills just in case if Hopkins ends up being a Bill. But it is such a good offense that I think you can kind of get away with being super aggressive there. Like, I'm honestly definitely will think about very hard and deeply drafting like Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox was the guy on that projection show I was talking about that really popped for them. You said I'm sleeping on Muth. It's just how does he get there? How does he get there? We've had 2 years now of under 10 points per game. I think that he's a pretty good tight end, but it's tough. Like, he's probably going to be 3rd in targets on the team. I don't think Matt Canada is going to have him like really scoring a ton of points on that offense. I don't really believe in Kenny Pickett. I don't know. We got Vinny in here. What's going on, my boy? Your team looks amazing 2 years ago. Yo. Why are you trolling, bro? I mean, yeah, it is definitely a team of olds. I'll say that. I agree. You said I'm going to have a very low percentage of Waddle at current ADP. If Tua remotely replicates what he did last year, then McDaniel's a top 3 coach. I don't think the offense always keeping around pressure like they did is sustainable. It's true. Thoughts on Madison, where he's going now? Do you have much of him? No, I'm taking 0 Alexander Madison. Yeah, I'm just I can't take Alexander Madison 5th round. I won't be taking him over Dobbins. I won't be taking him over Pierce. I'll take him over Sanders, but I'm not drafting. Like, once Sanders happens in these drafts, that's to me the start of the dead zone. Like the real dead zone. I mean, the dead zone's kind of pushed out at this point because you're having, your RB4 taken at 203 and like your RB12 going in the 3rd round now. But I am staying away from this like Sanders, Akers, Montgomery, Swift, Rashad White. Like, give me every single one of these wide receivers. Give me Evans, Burks, Jahan Dotson, Addison, Tony, Deontay, Gabe Davis, Pickens. And then I think there's a pretty big tier break at wide receiver where I'll then flip back to running back. Right around Jameson Williams. I mean, that guy reached on Jameson Williams, so I still do like QJ, Cooks, Elijah Moore, Bateman, Michael Thomas, Sutton. But then once you get past those guys, it's a pretty big tier break to like your Juju, Jameson Williams, Tyler Boyd's. So while these wide receivers through Sutton are still on the board, I'm not even really looking Alexander Madison's, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, any of those guys' way. It's just tough. I mean, 5th round, especially in Best Mania when people were taking him in the double-digit rounds now, you're losing a lot of ground to those 10th round Madison teams. All right, we have Buffalo. We can go Cleveland. We can go Dallas. Nothing really lines up with what we've been doing here. I don't take a lot of Brandon Cooks, but let's take Brandon Cooks here. Could have taken Elijah Moore if I wanted to set up kind of like a Aaron Rodgers stack down the road, but didn't feel necessary. Gets there by catching more than 3 touchdowns this year. Yeah, that's sort of true. But yeah, I do find it's tough with Freiermuth just because I just don't know how much that offense is going to score touchdowns. Does make sense though. I do kind of I will see that I think Freiermuth, I would probably project him to have the most receiving touchdowns in that offense, just from a projection standpoint. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Like, I think he's a good player, and I have him about right on ADP with market in terms of Dynasty, and I want to bet on Freiermuth long term, but I'm not super excited to draft him. But, I mean, he is pretty cheap. I would just say, like, in this range, like, I would almost, like, literally just rather wait on Freiermuth. Like, I don't know. Like, it's still pretty cheap, right? It's still pretty cheap, but, I mean, we talked about it with Hayden when he came on the channel a couple weeks ago. But tight ends across the board, like, I would almost say tight end, like, your last, like, 2 to 3 picks, I feel like it's probably more plus EV the more of those picks you can have be tight end. Like, the difference between tight end that you're drafting in, like, the 10th, 12th, 11th round and the tight end that you're drafting in the 18th round is really not all that different. So I'm always trying to line these things up where I'm taking guys really late. And Freiermuth just doesn't really line up with where I'm trying to take tight ends, I guess. Now, if Sutton makes it here, I'll think long and hard about taking Sutton. Because he is, to me, like the last wide receiver in a tier. But then we're getting pretty wide receiver heavy. We kind of could use Njoku here. Just like a one-off tight end. Could even go... So Sutton goes. James Cook would make sense with Josh Allen, but I don't want to. Like, we already have a lot of Bills. Tyler Boyd kind of makes sense. I think Dak kind of makes sense, but I think that's a lot of investment to put in there. Let's go Antonio Gibson. I just think Antonio Gibson is a good bet to make. We could use a running back. Why not? I'm going to be all over Antonio Gibson this year, by the way, fellas. I will say he keeps creeping up in ADP, though. I don't like Miles Sanders at all this year. People are like penciling him in for like a bell cow role. Also, by the way, I haven't said it today, but like, if you got a dynasty trade that's chilling in your inbox, feel free to put it in the live chat. If you got a question, any question really, it can be fantasy football, it can be sports, life, anything. Let me know. I love when you guys kind of just like throw me up lobs to just talk. Um, but yeah, I don't like Sanders at all, man. Sanders, to me, everybody's kind of penciling him in to be like this bell cow role. He's an undersized running back. Caught passes in college. He caught passes his first year in the NFL, and then since then he's had 4 years of not catching passes. I would just highly doubt he goes to Carolina and just ends up catching a meaningful amount of balls, to the point where it would make him a good pick. Like, he's a 6th-round guy. Like, again, to me, this is a dead zone. Like, I can't take a Miles Sanders over Evans, Treylon Burks, Jahan Dotson, Addison. Just knowing, just sort of do this 2v2 for me. Or 2v2. Like, Miles Sanders, like, would you rather have Miles Sanders, and I don't know, is there like a wider, like, what are the wide receivers that are available? Like, would you rather have Miles Sanders and Tyler Boyd, or would you rather have Mike Evans, and like Damian Harris, or, I mean, the running backs I wanted to say are kind of gone at this point, but like Rashad Penny I would put in there. Like, I would rather have Damian Harris or Rashad Penny. Like, it just feels like running back. There's no reason to pay a 6th-round pick for Miles Sanders when you have Damian Harris, Antonio Gibson, Rashad Penny, AJ Dillon, Khalil Herbert. Let's see, 10:07. We have a lot of Bill stacks going on. We could get Juju for a Patriots bring back. We have to address tight end, but we might just have to sort of worry about that later. We have Tyler Boyd slipping past ADP. I don't want to take Dame Harris. Let's go Tyler Boyd slipping past ADP. Why not? And it kind of gives us some Cincy correlation. I do want to. I'm going to be annoying. I'm going to star up some stacks here just to get those wheels rolling, especially in Best Ball Mania when Week 17 correlation matters a bunch. It's something I've been, I think, neglecting a little bit in this draft. When I do them off stream, I'm starring players after every pick, but I just think it would be kind of boring for you guys. But I have to do it. I'm doing it anyway. Sometimes they come naturally, but I think like right now I almost feel like in this draft I'm like sort of grasping for straws here, trying to figure out what to do at every pick. So I do want Week 17 correlation to kind of push me down a path right now, of what I should be doing. So we have a lot of tight ends to draft, and we don't need any more correlation with Josh Allen is the thing. And I kind of want to figure out like what quarterbacks we need right now, just in terms of stacking. There's Chiefs. We need like Washington, San Fran. No. It's Bills, Hopkins. We need Tampa and New Orleans. Also, if you're in here, leave a like on the stream. I appreciate you guys hanging out with the boy. I'm gonna get to the chat in a second here once I'm done doing this. So Bills, Tampa Bay. Then we just need Cowboys and Detroit, and we're good. Boom. All right, could definitely talk ourselves into Dalton Kincaid, but I kind of want to shy away from going too heavy on these Bill stacks. Like we already have Diggs and Gabe Davis. I don't really need. I think you can make a case for really only one more, and I kind of want to save that for Dawson Knox later. Could make the case to go Goff. I guess we could stack him with like Laporta, but doesn't really have to happen at this point. Could go Khalil Herbert just to get a running back in our room. Let's go Khalil Herbert. I know that this sort of seems off the wall, but think it makes a lot of sense there. We kind of just need a running back. Wasn't really feeling crazy about any of the options there. Again, I could have gone Kincaid, but I feel like that was gonna be too heavy on our bills. I could have gone Goff, but I feel like if we went Josh Allen, we don't need to spend like that high of a pick on our QB2. I'd rather wait a little bit. What else was I kind of debating there? Damian Harris, I didn't want another Bill. Debated Gallup. I don't know how many wide receivers we're going to gun for in this build. I think we're probably going to end up with like 3 or 4 tight ends. 2 quarterbacks for sure. That might literally be it for us at running back. I'm not sure yet. We have how many picks left? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks. Need 1 quarterback, 3 to 4 tight ends, so that's 4. Okay. I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing here. What else we got in here? Yeah, I'm debating a 4 tight end build right now myself. Thoughts on Commanders RBs this year? Antonio Gibson by a mile. I just think that he's the most talented one there. I think the enemy coming in might shake things up enough to sort of enlighten the coaching staff. He also has the most just upside build where he's just super athletic and then also can catch passes. Flowers or Bateman, and why? Before this Bateman cortisone shot, it was pretty heavy on Bateman. I think I would still lean Bateman. Just going into year 3, I think that he probably gets the seniority nod in terms of being out there in 2 and 3 wide receiver sets. And I mean, last year in the few games that he played, he looked great. He just had a low amount of routes. So I think with Roman Gani, he should get a full diet of routes, I guess you could call it. I just think it's a little bit different with Bieniemy. I also just don't think, I just don't buy into Brian Robinson much. It's just somebody in that backfield is going to have to do well. Gibson's paths to it are kind of the same they've always been. The thing is here, Brock, is Gibson's cheap. He's a 10th round pick. I guess that's where he went last year once Brian Robinson was balling in training camp, if that makes sense. Then that happened, and then everybody kind of just kept moving him down draft boards, which was fair. Komet, Carr. Hate all of these options. Let's go Dobbs. We're going to have to chill on wide receiver very soon here. That was a dumb pick. That was a really dumb pick. I thought we were going to set something up for Jordan Love later, and then I realized this guy took Jordan Love 20 picks before ADP. All right. So we're going to have to really chill on wide receivers because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In a perfect world, we'd probably take 4 tight ends to finish the draft. I'm going to need a quarterback here soon. Could do a 2-4-8-4. I think a 2-4-8-4 would work. And that would be 6 plus 12. What quarterbacks can we make work right now? Stafford's not too difficult. You can always just add Van Jefferson or a Higbee late. I should have taken Higbee and then set that up for Stafford. Could maybe still pull that off though. 150 for Higbee, and then Stafford would be 163. Don't want Kyler here. Pickett could maybe make sense. Young could maybe make sense. I think I could make C.J. Stroud make sense if Dalton Schultz falls to this next pick. We'll see. But yeah, I would say what's different is the price and Bieniemy shaking some things up in terms of just scheme. What RB2s after round 4 you think are most worth grabbing? I love the trifecta of Damian Harris, Rashad Penny, Antonio Gibson. What video games are you playing at the moment? Dude, I'm such a weirdo when it comes to games, man. Like I'll have games that I play with my buddies on Xbox. So I mean, we've been playing a lot of Ishel on NHL, which is kind of their pro clubs, um, where you can like squad up with your buddies. But I also, if I'm playing by myself and just chilling out, I'm usually playing on my Xbox 360, and I've just bought a bunch of old games for cheap, so it can be an assortment of anything. This can be Schultz, and I kind of love that pick. But recently I've been playing Tiger Woods PGA Tour like 14, and it's a really sick game. It has like all the majors. I've been playing a career mode in that, but I've been thinking about switching to something else recently. I don't know. I have a bunch of old games. I have like 2K14. I have some stuff like pre-2010. I think I have like FIFA 07. Like I just have a bunch of old games, just uh, a bunch of random games on there. We got Zach in here. What's going on, my boy? What else we got here? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Will you be doing a hero RB, double hero RB, zero RB video for this upcoming season? 100%. 100%. I don't know when, but I would expect those kinds of videos like July, August. You said you simply like this team because I got Diggs with round 3 Allen. Yeah, I agree. I know the Panthers RB is less messy, but like it's baked in, you know. Like I'd rather the more messy backfield 4 rounds later. I'm very rarely drafting a running back at round 6 for his like security and stability, you know. Like very rarely are those guys outproducing anybody you can get on waivers. I know it's in best ball it's a little bit different, but in best ball I'd rather have, you know, quantity at running back. You're saying, why am I so low on James Conner? Surprised to see him outside the top 20 in your redraft rankings. I mean, I've been into James Conner, but it is at a point where he's just like old. I'm not excited to take him. I don't know. I just think that there's better upside bets at running back ahead of him. I would have to look at my actual rankings to give a little bit more in depth there. What else we got? You like B-Rob? You think that Robinson has a better chance of the goal line role? I don't think that's necessarily wrong. Uh, did we start up Titans as well? No. All right, so pick 163. We need tight end. And Singletary goes. I was actually debating Singletary. So we actually have to figure this out. We're gonna cut it off at 3 tight ends because of Schultz. Schultz is good enough, I think. Let's go Jerome Ford here, and then that'll be it for us at running back. So we're done at no, we're not done at quarterback. I think I'm going to get real thin with our second quarterback. I think kind of putting our eggs in one basket here, but I got some ideas in terms of what we're going to finish quarterback off with. What's the bye week I have to be wary of? 13 with Josh Allen? Okay. So we're done at running back. We need, let me actually see the draft board one more time. We need 2 tight ends, 1 quarterback, and we can go 1 wide receiver. So we can go 2, 5, 8, 3. And that'll be kind of what we're working with here. We're definitely done at running back. Wide receiver, we only really need just to set up correlation. Might still go 4 tight ends, depending on what we kind of need here. So you've been playing Elden Ring recently. That's such a complicated game, I can't get there. You said you play NHL. Yeah, Chel's the best. Chel's the best. Even on my 360, I fired up NHL 14 sometimes. You named your Elden Ring player fucking Howie Roseman. Remember playing Tiger Woods 2004 on OG Xbox and getting stuck on the career mode like 65% of the way through? If I was a wide receiver, what would my RS grade be? Dude, I'd be legendary. Ramondre or Brees this year? I'll go Ramondre. I think they're in the same tier, but I'll take the guy not coming off an ACL. I hope that's not a hot take. Let's go with Dawson Knox here. Let's go Dawson Knox just to get that added Buffalo stack. Why not? I would love a New England bring back as well with Gesicki or Hunter Henry. So we have our 16th pick, 17th, 18th. Okay, I got ideas. You said you changed your name to the uncle who touched me. Oh my god, dude. Has your enjoyment of fantasy increased or decreased since you just started content creation? Man, these are actually some hard-hitting questions, my boy. Has it increased or decreased? My enjoyment of fantasy since I've started making content. This is man, CJ Stroud gets sniped from us. Okay. But I was gonna say this is a really basic answer, but I'd say it's kind of stayed the same because I think making it into a job of sorts has turned down the enjoyment, but also making it into a job has allowed me to actually like block off time to play fantasy, and it's also allowed me to justify playing in all those high stakes leagues we do every summer, and like, you know, I mean, 150 times 25 in terms of maxing out the BBM, that's $3,750. So now that I do this for real and I make content out of it or whatever, it's been nice. I can now, you know, play a lot more volume and a lot more high stakes because of it. So it's tough to say. I think kind of like the kid-like magic of it when, you know, I don't know, there's some, I think I'm kind of in the minority, but I don't know, when you play fantasy football as a kid and you're in like high school and you're playing with your buddies, there's something magical about just like the pureness of it, you know? So I think I've kind of lost that a little bit, but I'm much better than I used to be. I win a lot more. I get to play in higher stakes and play in more leagues in general, so I think it's just kind of a trade-off, I guess. But I still very much enjoy it. Like I wouldn't play as much volume as I do if I secretly didn't enjoy fantasy anymore. My bias on goal line backs could just be because I had a super high amount of Jamal Williams last year. Yeah. You said your videos have helped me finish third and win my league the last 2 years. Thank you so much, my man. Let's go, dude. I love hearing stuff like that. What else we got? Let's see. Can we make the impossible happen? I have an idea. I don't think it's going to work, though. Damn. Giants, Vegas. That's not going to work. We're going to just press the button. We're going to reach on Mac Jones here and figure the rest out from there. So now we need to make sure we get Patriots. So Hunter Henry, Devontae Parker, both guys on my list for sure. It doesn't feel good taking Mac Jones like 15 picks ahead of ADP, but just kind of how that works. You said, "Hi, I don't mean to be hard hitting. I just know myself is I burn out on things because I love to deep dive, so I always need to." Yeah, I agree. I agree. I just think that that's kind of what I do in terms of like in the off season, where my volume of videos is much lower these days. Um, just like I try to save myself for the like July through August through September push through the season, and then these off season months, like you'll see, like instead of posting like 6 videos a week, it's more like 3 in some streams. Um, Not burning myself all the way. Kendrick Bourne's actually a great name to toss out there. I'll definitely be looking at Kendrick Bourne. I actually love that suggestion. What else we got in here? Thoughts on Pittman? I think he's kind of all right. Like, where did he go in this draft? He went 5th round. Like, I can do 6th round Michael Pittman. It's tough. It's tough because I think he's talented and I think he draws targets, which I like. It's just that his quarterback runs a lot and is going to be a rookie. So it's just like awful environment for the guy. Man, there is a part of me that wants to click the button on Trey Lance here. We're drafting Trey Lance. We're drafting Trey Lance. Did I want to go with the 3 quarterback builds in the context of this team? No. Not even in the slightest. Not even in the slightest. But it's Bestlemania. We waited so long on QB2 and Mac Jones that I think that this is actually pretty much fine. How many weeks Trey Lance or Mac Jones will make the lineup, I'm not sure, but I think Trey Lance is high enough upside that, one, you're leveraging the field because when Bestlemania opened, Trey Lance is probably more of like a 10th round pick, so now you're leveraging the field. And then he's also just going to give you spike weeks that'll cover Josh Allen, How do we feel about that Trey Lance pick? I didn't love it, but if he's sitting there in the 17th round, Trey Lance, like I'd rather just take the quarterback points than get some random wide receiver, Like we're gonna cut it off at 7 wide receivers here, but I don't think that that's that thin. Like I don't think it's that thin. Like we're gonna have Diggs, Hopkins, Mike Evans, Gabe Davis, Cooks, Boyd, Dobbs. I think Dobbs is such a dumb pick, but it's fine. We have Bills. The goal here is now to just get a player that I'm not going to talk about because I don't want anybody to take him. But what do we got? What do we got? Any other questions? You guys have been sort of doing great here. We got Cooper in the 5th or London in the 7th. I probably take London in the 7th there. You said, I bet being a fantasy content creator during the season can burn you out. Yeah, that's where the real burnout comes in. Like you're saying here, like trade targets, waiver on repeat. Like it, I mean, it's a push and pull because you kind of like that's kind of the deal to the devil when it comes to making fantasy content is you can just pay your dues for 17 weeks and make weekly content where it's just like rinse and repeat everything you talked about last week, throw it away. You're talking about the same set of 40 players every week. Where in the offseason, like I haven't talked about, Mike Evans, for instance, probably like 2 months. But in the season, I'll be talking about Mike Evans every week, So it does get a little bit dull. But it's just kind of like that's kind of what you sign up for, Everything else I love. I love when I can just make whatever video I want, show you guys some random year 2 point per game projection model that I was messing around with and turn that into a video. So yeah. But yeah, feel free. Hit me while this last round is going. Let me know if you have any questions. Any questions, concerns? Let me know, y'all. What do we got? You said Nico Collins or Jamal Williams. What format, my brother? What format? Said, yep, and we need those waivers and trade target videos badly. Super important for winning chips. Yeah, I agree. Like, the videos themselves are useful. They're pretty fucking brutal to make every week. But it's just kind of what it is. Best Jersey restaurant, huh? I wish I was more of a restaurant snob. Like, I wish I could tell you, like, oh, you have to go to this place in Jersey. In terms of really good places to eat at in Jersey, I think the only one that I can really say, I think it was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives or whatever, and it was really good, and I've had it before, but it's called, like, White Mana Burger. It's called, like, White Mana Burgers. It's not that far away from Jet Stadium. Let me make sure I'm getting this right. Yeah, White Mana Hamburgers in Hackensack. It's insane. It's like this. It's like this small, super small, like almost like corner store, but they flip burgers and it's amazing. That's the only one I can really say. But here's the team. We drafted out of the 6th spot. I think we did pretty well. We went Diggs, JT, Allen, so we get a little Allen Diggs stack there. Hopkins, in case if he goes to either the Bills or the Patriots, we can get a little bit of a bring back / stack there. If he goes to the Patriots, it'll also stack up our Mac Jones down there. We end up going Mixon as our RB2, hopefully, or not hopefully. I mean, he's kind of a garbage person, but I mean, for the sake of this team, we're kind of hoping that he beats the case. Evans, Gabe Davis, just some spike week receivers, Cooks, Gibson, Boyd, Khalil Herbert, Romeo Dobbs, Dalton Schultz at our tight end 1 spot, Jerome Ford to be our last running back, Dawson Knox, Hunter Henry. Dawson Knox will link up with our Josh Allen. We'll have Hunter Henry linking up with our Mac Jones. And then a naked Trey Lance in 17th round, but I figured such a high upside quarterback that the weeks that he does outscore Josh Allen, it'll be like massive, massive spike weeks. And in Best Ball Mania, Trey Lance is probably more of like a 10th round pick earlier on, so you're getting some leverage against the field in that scenario. But as always, I appreciate you guys coming out here, spending the night with me, hanging out. That is going to do it for us tonight. But as always, if you're new, if you haven't checked out Underdog Fantasy, make sure you do so. That entire draft was on Underdog Fantasy. You can draft teams on there and not have to worry about them in season. Waivers, trades, none of that. It's best ball. It sets your lineup every single week for you. You can just draft the team, forget about it. It's the most fun part of fantasy. When you sign up, use promo code RON, and they will match your deposit up to $100. I'll have a link in the live chat and a link pinned down below in the comments where you click it. It'll bring you to the website. It'll use my promo code RON. It'll match your deposit up to $100. You'll support the basement, keep the lights on in the basement for another week or so. And that's all. So as always, I appreciate you guys coming out here, and I will see you guys in the next one.